All right, welcome back. Last week we started our week off with the trial in one courtroom and pleas in another courtroom. We picked a jury on Monday. On Tuesday, Monday afternoon, we did motions, and then Tuesday came back to start the trial. It was at that stage, after the trial had started, that Tamario McGee, 34 years old of Myrtle Beach, decided to change his plea from not guilty to guilty. The state made no recommendations, no negotiations. He was looking at somewhere between 5 years and 30 years for trafficking in methamphetamine second offense. The judge gave him 10 years. He would have to serve 85% of that before he is eligible for parole. So about 8.5 years for before he would come up for parole. Really proud of Caitlin Cook. She is an attorney on our drug team and did a fantastic job. David Carricker was sitting with her and making sure that she had sort of checked all of the boxes to put this trial together. This happens almost all the time. You get this idea that everybody's screaming, I want a trial, I want a trial, and they do until it's trial time. Now, our system is built around this idea that if you plead early, there would probably be, on most cases, some sort of a recommendation. And that is so that we can front end these cases. That is so that we can get a lot of these cases behind at the very beginning. It is impossible to try 10,000 warrants that come through Horry County or 2,000 that come through Georgetown. You can try about 100 warrants a year. That's about it, 100 warrants. So what do you do with the other 9,900? You can't let them stockpile and just, sludge up around the gears. So in this case, when we get it on the trial roster, it's a totally different feel. It's like we have done our work now. We've got everybody in position to come in and testify, and now we don't make any deals. In fact, we want you to go to trial at that point. So that's what happened here, and at that point he was looking at up to 30 years. It would have been fine with me if he'd have got it. There's another little thing that I'll throw out that we get in the comments all the time. You can get all of this time for drugs. You can't, when you shoot somebody, you can't get that much time. There is a little bit of truth to that. Drugs are enhanced. First offense, it doesn't matter how hard we scream and cry, we always ask for prison time for distribution. Not a lot, but we always ask for it. We rarely get it. That is up to a judge. In drug cases, in those cases, almost all of it is on videotape, and there's almost always police officers that are willing to come in and testify. What we find, and logic will just tell you, if you are having shootouts between gang members, or you're having a drug buyer or a drug seller shoot at their counterpart, there are very few times that you can get those people into court. So it is a much easier time. But if you take it to its simplest fact, do you care at all that Al Capone spent the rest of his days in prison on tax fraud or anything else because the authorities in the 50s couldn't get him on murder? As long as a really bad player is off the street, that is our philosophy. We try to get the bad people off the street, and if we can get them off on drug cases where our law is a little bit better and we've got better witnesses, that's what we intend to do. If we don't have witnesses and we don't have victims, if you would just for a second put yourself in the shoes of a juror, not as a, just taking in what I'm telling you, but if you came in as a juror and you, the state was telling you that this person was shot and lives right down the street, went to the hospital for 3 or 4 days and then got out, as a juror, you would want to hear from that guy who shot you. When did that take place? Tell me what was going on. And without that, the police can't testify to that. They can't say, he told me so-and-so. Witnesses are really important. The only time that you can try a case without witnesses as victims is in murder cases. And jurors know he can't come in and testify. He has been murdered. So there's a lot that if you just think to the next level, where would I be if I were a jury? What would I want to see? It'll start making a little sense. But the good part is this was not McGee's first run-in with law enforcement. It was his second, and we did our job in presenting the case. And he was looking at up to 30, and he got a 10-year sentence, which is a stiff time. So he will serve 8.5 before he's eligible for parole, and we should not be seeing Mr. McGee again until at least 2030. Have a great week, and thank you for tuning in.